So I would say the people who impact me musically would be I grew up listening to Music Soul Child. I grew up listening to Jasmine Sullivan, well, not Jasmine Sullivan, but like Jill Scott. It was a lot of neo soul, but I despised neo soul when I was growing up, not on purpose, but like I was listening to the Ozzy Brothers and uh, that's not neo soul, that's just soul. But like the Ozzy Brothers, the Spinners, all of these big song groups, and I think the first group that caught my this is the first time I'm ever saying this. First group that ever like spawned this feeling of wanting to sing was Drew Hill, and they just like Cisco was going crazy. He was just yelling on everything, and I was like, damn, that's how I feel like I would sing. I would just be yelling, like you know what I'm saying, and that like kind of changed the dynamic of how I was looking at stuff. But Drew Hill wouldn't exist if it wasn't for like the Boys the Men's and everything else. But that like I always thought that I would be in a boy band or some shit. Yeah, my introduction to I guess Chicago was like Kanye and Lupe. I don't know. I think that like they were, the first things first. They were masters at their craft. Lupe's ability to wield the English language is insane, and that was probably one of the most impressive things that I'd ever seen. I was fans of a lot of rappers who like rap circles around people or whatever like that. But Lupe was like a true student of the game, and it sounded like he was from the same places that I was from. So it's like kind of spoke to my soul. And then I guess Kanye changed his perception of what him and Lupe, but changed the perception of what a rapper had to be growing up in Philly or whatever like that. You know, the Broad Street Bully is Beanie Siegel. The first thing that we think about is like the first thing that I think about was taking every aspect of what I grew up in all these hoods and stuff like that, and that being the forefront of the character that I created, right? And then these individuals came up, and it was more so a response to their environment, and they made songs about that, which then broadened the subject matter that I could talk about or what I thought I could talk about. So it then went from being like, this guy to this guy working at the Gap to this guy, you know what I'm saying, like being a college dropout and so on and so forth. Like, it broadened like the spectrum of the experience, which I believe hip hop is all about because it's only about your experience. It's about like what you went through. You don't have to fit into any mold. And then that allowed me to truly find like I guess my individuality about the things that I wanted to talk about. I always wanted to make songs about shit that nobody's talking about. Like, what does it sound like to make a song about ghosting somebody? What does it sound like to make a song about, you know what I'm saying, being on the other side of getting cheated on, but you're the man, you know what I'm saying, and so on and so forth. Like, so, yeah. If anything, that's the thing that I took away from them. The people that I met in Chicago that forever changed my the way that I even look at music. One of them is Chris Classic. I met him in college, and like this is a dude. Like the production that we was working on prior to me moving to Chicago was ass. And this is no offense to any of the people that I made music with prior to me getting to Chicago, but I always felt like the production could be further. And like one of our biggest songs when we was in college was this song that he produced. But it was him, Mick Jenkins, Saba, Fatima, No Name. Like all of these individuals shaped and molded me in ways that I don't think that they even are chance. Like they don't Joey Pert, Kane, like all of these guys, like it was like on some iron sharpens iron type situation. And I think I look at music in terms of like the same way that I guess a sports fanatic would, not even a sports fanatic, but an athlete would look at like their maturation, right? You come from wherever school you came from to go to college, right? And in your college, you got a scholarship, whatever, woo doo doo woo. So I came from Philly being that guy, like, and I came to a city full of other individuals where they came from their high schools and they were those motherfuckers. And if you could be that motherfucker amongst a bunch of people who are really cold, then I think you're really doing something. And I think for me, that was the community that we built, which it was like I only measured myself against other, you know, masters of their craft who were working to be that. They weren't that at that moment, but they were definitely diamonds in the rough that were figuring that shit the fuck out. And I think like they directly influenced the artist that I am today. Like I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for all of those individuals that I've surrounded myself with. Yeah. What's going on, y'all? It's the Mind. You were checking out 24/7 HH.